franchises had control of, like Predator at the time, and yeah, Aliens, and even a few originals by like some legends. And yeah, I mean, it's more about a bubblegum type of pop art that never gets bored. I never get bored with comics. Even if it's a dreary kind of like graphic novel. Because sometimes there are like graphic novels that are like focusing on like different time periods, like the Holocaust. I mean, there's really some hard-hitting kind of controversial graphic novels that they don't really want kids to be. Well, I don't know. I mean, compared to what it used to be and now how it is today, I mean, wow.
Among books, there's the most famous book is the Bible. Is there something that in comics that represents like that? Which is the most famous like comic?
The Price Guide. Overstreet Price Guide.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's usually like a yearbook that comes out each and every year. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Especially the Overstreet, because there's different ways of telling what's like, what's mint, what's vintage, what's rare, yet one's just kind of like so-so. I mean, I also say, like, even with, like, if it's totally torn up, it's still a good investment. I have a couple of good comics like that are kind of ripped, but they're still really important issues. Well, yeah, like Fantastic Four. Still hands down one of the comics that has always a kick-ass cover. A friggin' sick cover each time. Yeah, Fantastic Four, sickest friggin' covers.
Yeah.
Next to the X-Men, of course, but the X-Men, and then Shazam on DC, and maybe Swamp Thing and Doom Patrol. More of Doom Patrol than Swamp Thing. When I was littler, I got into that stuff. Or Constantine, Hellblazer. All these are, like, those are more for suggested for mature audiences, not the kids that you think buy them. No, adults are more buying these things that intrigues them with both text and pictures. And when you put that together, it's a little more simple, but it's so fun. I think it's such a fun kind of genre and format that you can't get bored with it. That's what I think about comics.
Have you read 1984?
Yeah, and I even have like a copy of Brazil, which is similar.
Isn't 1984 like a great book that like it predicted the future and it still instructs and informs people's lives about like Big Brother's watching you and that kind of thing? And then,
yeah, or even the 1984 Super Bowl commercial for the 1984 like Apple computer, and they had this like friggin' like huge like friggin' hammer, and they tossed it. It was only played on TV like maybe once or twice. Probably maybe only once during the friggin' football game. I think they lead it into 84 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. I think that was actually compared to with the opening ceremony. Sorry, I don't know. Well, I just remember of 1984 of this guy like watching it on TV. This guy had a jetpack. He was flying around this freaking around the freaking Coliseum and stuff, and it was so kind of cool because it was like this is 1984, and that's like stuck in my head for years. Because we all would have different genres of 84 to 85. We all saw it kind of more than we could compared to even younger ages. It was just kind of unique and interesting about how literature always goes with one generation to the next. And I don't know, it's just like stringing the cosmic guitar that you have to tune. the Strom two together.
Which is more stressed in comics, the actual writing or the illustration? Is it the illustrator becomes more famous, doesn't he?
Yeah, because they're more known, unless they've been doing it for a long time, and they'd even do like movie scripts and comics as well, like Frank Miller. I don't know. I mean,
and someone else does the writing.
Yeah, and sometimes people do the writing and drawing. I do that. I sometimes could like get stuff and do collaborations with, but for one thing, I mean, yeah, I don't know, the type of art I'm doing, I don't know, I'm having fun with it. When it comes to my genre and how I compare myself as a semi-so cartoonist, I could have a chance of like 20% versus like 40-40, so 80.
I just want to apologize to any listeners who tried to tune in to us live because we weren't on at 4. We were both a little late today. I was having a nap, and Bill was out for the day and forgot about the show.
Yeah.
But we apologize sincerely, don't we?
I think we have to, but yeah, I don't know. People get busy.
Yeah.
People get caught up in what they're doing, and hey, sometimes you even think you're doing most of what you're doing, but then there's like a needle in the haystack. You find, but that's the point. You're not supposed to find it. Yeah, I don't know, funny shit like that.
As a fanboy, you practice projection?
Yeah, everything from the different projection manipulation skills that I have actually kind of associated with. Like, there's different superpowers, and sometimes you can put them in a box with other people. Like, a good example is that's with the Speed Force, especially in DC, and how they have a lot of speedsters. And the speedsters are just heroes that can control the Speed Force. And then X-Men, well, Marvel, of course, is a bunch of mutants. And mutants are just kind of anomalies, like mutations in the gene sequence that blurps up, and either a really cool realization or a really cool kind of gift would go along with it. And I don't know.
I would say like one of my favorite books is Confederacy of Dunces. It's like this about this like kind of fat guy who's like really cynical. The writer actually committed suicide, and his mother brought in the manuscript of the writer that committed suicide. He was a teacher at a school, but it has some really dark humor, like really funny, cynical stuff. Is there anything in comics like that that's really cynical and like makes fun of stuff?
Yeah, there's certain characters that have that kind of part of us. Like, I mean, the funny heroes are probably Deadpool. Yeah, the way he acts is kind of funny. Yeah. He's like this trained mutant assassin with like healing factor and like abilities with like karate and all that other stuff. And yeah, I mean, he like tells jokes and stuff. And yeah, compared to Spider-Man's pretty funny too. And then there's other ones that are just as funny, like Howard the Duck, of course. And that was even a cool friggin' like post. Yeah, you have to see Guardians of the Galaxy even. But yeah, there's funny superheroes out there, like the Tick. The Tick is totally that's total comedy right there.
My friends had I don't know if it's a comic or a comic book or whatever, but it's called The Freak Brothers. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's even funner, yeah, because, yeah, that's like from the golden age of underground comics and indie comics. And that is kind of funny because their golden age and silver age is around the 70s and 80s, so a bit more projected, but yeah. There's all types of formats too when you think about these things that come along with it. It's always kind of interesting how you connect things. Especially advancements and progress in technology, the whole thought of Darwinism, and different types of weird ass kind of creatures.
What would you define Darwinism as? Because I don't know that term really. I know evolution, but Darwinism was like an old term that they used for people who are like, you know, Darwin's bulldog, and like they're like, oh, we want to be the fittest, like, and they're misrepresenting Darwin, so it's kind of a weird term.
Yeah, but they did that with computer systems too. They did that with friggin' PlayStation. Yeah, like they did that with Atari and all the different types. That's natural. That's a good example right there.
Of what?
Yeah, natural selection with technology, with like computers, the advancements from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it rolls on. But it's kind of
that'd be the opposite of natural selection. That's man selecting things. That's unnatural selection.
Well, things that just
selective.
Like collective, maybe, or like a tribe mind to a hive mind.
The technology isn't like dying and then like having babies that are like living and dying. I don't know. I think it's like I don't think you can say natural selection for technology. I guess
like zenith beliefs. The zenith beliefs we have.
The zenith of technology, yeah. The very height of technology, the zenith.
Yes.
And you project yourself into that.
Yeah, because who knows? Like kids today won't settle for anything under 31. Strange.
How many comics do you have?
A few thousand.
A few thousand?
Yeah, modestly.
I think your collection's out of control.
Yeah, it's getting more to the point that I only have to part with some of it. See, just, I don't know, get back into doing anything.
I seen one guy, a picture of him, and he's in this big warehouse. He's like, owns more comics than anyone in the States. He doesn't know what to do with them. He's got so many.
There's this one place called Mile High Comics.
Yeah.
I saw it on the Toy Hunter. Oh, it's sick. It's so big. It's like a huge warehouse, and there's like a dream of like all these comics. I mean, that's why I love like even spring and summer. Because the expo. Yeah, I like the smell, and I like the people that come out in the spring and freaking like dress around with like really pathetic costumes. Yeah, cosplay. It's kind of trippy. Some people might say it's gay, but it's kind of trippy. And it is kind of interesting. Because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're acting like a character you read in the comic book. But most of these people that are doing the cosplay are like girls, like models, wanting to get experience or something.
Well, my cousin's into Society of Cultural Anachronisms, and I've gone to a couple of their feasts. And that's kind of everyone's in the costume from the medieval times. And I wore this like burlap sack thing. I was like a peasant or something. And my cousin went up and she got this big award. She was like the Duncan of something. And I was like,
that's so weird because what a strange coincidence. Yesterday I was watching freaking CBC and the Dragon's Den. Exactly, it was right there, man. It's funny. This kind of brothel where they fight like these like guys on stilts that are in like ogre costumes. They're fighting. You know what? That just reminded me of my childhood of 1985 with He-Man. It was some strange kind of thing at the Saddledome. It was like, it was a He-Man adventure. It was a fucked up kind of shonen thingy. Yeah, I don't know. He-Man was cool.
So when Captain America dies, does he really die, or is it like Spock, when Spock returns, like Spock dies and then he returns?
No, you gotta remember that there's like there's different heroes like that are part more of the franchise. Knowing that there's been Steve Rogers, then there was another Captain America that